Hello and welcome. You're watching Today in Parliament with me, Aishwarya, and these are the Parliament headlines. Both houses to initiate discussion on motion of thanks to President's address. In Rajya Sabha, BJP's Bhupendra Yadav, and in Lok Sabha, Pravesh Sahib Singh Verma to move motion. Report of ad hoc committee on child pornography and its effect on society to be tabled in the upper house. Committee headed by Jairam Ramesh submitted report to Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu on 25th of January. And ministers to lay important papers pertaining to their ministries on the table of the House. Arjun Ram Meghwal and Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary to present the 12th report of the Business Advisory Committee in the Lok Sabha. Both houses of Parliament will take up motion of thanks on President's address today. While BJP MP Bhupendra Yadav will move the motion in the Rajya Sabha, Pravesh Sahib Singh Verma will move the motion in the lower house. MPs Sudhanshu Trivedi and Ram Kripal Yadav will second the motion in the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha respectively. And in some other legislative business, the report of ad hoc committee on child pornography and its effect on the society will also be tabled in the upper house today. All right, let's get all the updates. Our colleague Kriti Mishra is now joining us live from Parliament. Kriti, on the opening day of the budget session of Parliament, we saw President Ramnath Kovind had addressed the joint sitting of both the houses, and today both the houses are going to take up the motion of thanks on President's address. Tell us some more about this.
Well, Aishwarya, Article 87 of Constitution provides for President's address, and we've seen in the President's address several achievements of the government were enumerated. In fact, several important issues were touched upon, including abrogation of Article 370 and also the passage of Citizenship Amendment Bill. President also gave a clarion call to use indigenous products. So several important issues were raised during President's address. Now, as far as the Rajya Sabha is concerned, of course, Clause 2 of 87 of Article of Constitution provides for motion of thanks. And in the Rajya Sabha particularly, Rules 14 to 21 of Rules of Procedure and Conduct of Business in the upper house provide for motion of thanks. So there would be a discussion in the upper house that would be raised by Bhupendra Yadav and would be seconded by Sudhanshu Trivedi. In the Lok Sabha as well, there would be discussion on motion of thanks that would be raised by MP Pravesh Verma, and also that would be seconded by Ram Kripal. So important day as far as both houses are concerned, because there would be discussion on motion of thanks on President's address. Over to you, Aishwarya.
And Kriti, also talking about Rajya Sabha, a Rajya Sabha committee which was set up by the chairman, had made several recommendations to prevent sexual abuse of children and contain the dissemination of child pornography content on the social media. And this report is also going to be tabled in the upper house. So tell us about the significance of this particular committee.
Well, Aishwarya, you may recall that this committee was formed at the behest of Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu. Of course, earlier it was an informal group that was later converted into ad hoc committee. Ad hoc committees are constituted from time to time on specific purposes. And of course, the terms of reference were decided, and there was representation of 10 political parties. And this was first of its kind initiative which drew accolades from several quarters. Now, this report has already been presented to Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu, and today it will be tabled in the upper house. Remember, there were detailed discussions between the members and debate on the issue of child pornography and its impact on the society. Now, the committee has made more than 40 recommendations and suggestions, including that there should be apps and filters on all the social media platforms to regulate the access to child pornography. It has also said that there should be broader definition of child pornography, and also the onus has to be on the internet service providers. So it's very important issues and very important suggestions that the committee has made, and this report would be tabled in the upper house today. Over to you, Aishwarya.
And Kriti, speaking about the Parliament's budget session in general, it is likely to hold 31 sittings, of course, until 3rd of April. And it is also set to discuss 45 bills and 7 financial items. Considering that the last 2 sessions that we had seen great productivity, of course, that has raised the bar pretty high for this particular session as well. How do you look at this budget session panning out in the next 31 sittings?
Well, absolutely, Aishwarya. You've seen that how the previous sessions were extremely productive. And in fact, 2019 was highly productive for the Rajya Sabha, marking a break from the disruptive preceding years. So the upper house in 2019 passed more than 52 bills in 65 sittings. That turns out to be an output of 0.80% or 4 bills in 5 days. And talking particularly about the last session, perhaps it was for the first time that the 2 consecutive sessions recorded a productivity of more than 100%. In the winter session, the upper house worked for more than 107 hours. 15 important bills were passed, and most importantly, the number of start questions that were taken up on the floor of the House, that was exemplary. So more than 171 start questions were taken up, which was a record of sorts in last 49 years, perhaps from the year 1971, and several zero-hour submissions as well as special mentions were also taken up. So certainly it was highly productive. And talking about the Lok Sabha also recorded a productivity of 116%. Now we've seen that the government held an all-party meet, and also Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu held parleys with the floor leaders of the Rajya Sabha to ensure that even that momentum is maintained. And as you've mentioned, that more than 45 bills are on the agenda of the government. There are ordinances as well. There would be discussion on the financial proposals, the budget, and also motion of thanks on President's address. So certainly a very important session of Parliament. Aishwarya?
Absolutely, Kriti, but of course, much will depend on the opposition strategy as well. Though, of course, Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu, Lok Sabha Speaker, and also Prime Minister Narendra Modi, have appealed to everyone to ensure that this is a productive session as well. But, of course, much will depend on the opposition strategy. What are your sources telling you? Because there are reports, that the opposition members are also planning for some adjournment motions as well.
Well, absolutely, Aishwarya. Even before the commencement of the session, the opposition had laid out its strategy, saying that important issues, including the CAA, the agitation that we've seen around this particular act, would be actually discussed and raised by the opposition members. The issue of economy, that would also be raised. And in fact, we saw that during the all-party meet, in fact, Prime Minister had also expressed his willingness that the country and the parliament should discuss the issue of economy. So, of course, the government has said that it is ready to discuss all the issues, discuss, debate and disperse. And it has also said that all the issues that the opposition would like to bring to the fore, the government is ready. So we have to see what kind of strategy the government adopts, what kind of strategy the opposition adopts, because ultimately, at the end of the day, the productivity of the House or the session is absolutely important and of paramount importance. Aishwarya?
Thank you so much, Kriti, for all those updates there. We'll keep coming back to you through the day on all the updates from Parliament. And in the other legislative business in the Lok Sabha today, several ministers will lay papers pertaining to their ministries on the table. Let's take a look at them. Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank will lay papers for the Ministry of Human Resource Development. Dharmendra Pradhan will lay on the table of the House papers pertaining to the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. Santosh Kumar Gangwar for the Ministry of Labour and Employment. Prahlad Singh Patel will lay papers for the Ministry of Tourism and the Ministry of Culture. Dhotri Sanjay Ramrao for the Ministry of Human Resource Development. Anurag Singh Thakur for the Ministry of Finance. Arjun Ram Meghwal and Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary will present the 12th report of the Business Advisory Committee. Secretary General of the Lok Sabha will lay on the table 15 bills passed by the Houses of Parliament during the second session of the 17th Lok Sabha and assented to by the President. And that's it in this edition of Today in Parliament. Do stay tuned. The proceedings of the Upper House are going to start in a short while from now, right at 11 a.m. Thanks so much for watching.